My body went numb like a minute ago. I can't feel a thing from my head to toe. I lost my mind, man, I'm out of control. I can't stop, no, thinking I'm about to blow. Like a dog fight, you will see the bullets fly. More cry and there ain't gonna be a place to hide. I got something that's deep inside, like an instinct saying there gon' be a fight. I can feel the eye of a hurricane. It's calm now, but I know that it's bound to change. I see the fight in the rise from a lot of pain. I feel the energy rise and something change. Yeah, I'm in deep now. My ears ring, it's about to get loud. My heart beats, I'm about to black out. So watch out. There ain't no going back now. 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 Yeah, I'm ready to brawl. Yeah, I'm ready to brawl. Yeah, I'm ready to brawl. Round two. Hands up, protect your face. You get blows to the dome and the blood you'll taste. You got one shot, so no mistake. Pick your spot, let it rock, let out all the rage. It's a new me, ain't afraid of anything. You could put me in the middle of any ring. I will come out a champ when the hands swing. Watch out, you'll be knocked out in a blink. I can feel the eye of a hurricane. It's calm now, but I know that it's bound to change. I see the fight in the rise from a lot of pain. I feel the energy rise and something change. Yeah, I'm in deep now. My ears ring, it's about to get loud. My heart beats, I'm about to black out. So watch out. There ain't no going back now. 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 Yeah, I'm ready to brawl. Yeah, I'm ready to brawl. Yeah, I'm ready to brawl. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Stroke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind, you know I'll always manifest it.
welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick. Let's go ahead and turn the cameras on here. Sunday, football, a lot of football. And I don't know. Every time I watch football, I always feel like it's all rigged. It doesn't seem legit to me anymore, as has been back in the days. Let me fix this camera real quick. But yeah, I just feel like football in general is just not what it used to be. Um, when I say rigged, I mean big time rigged, and you could tell. You could just tell. Let me just make sure this camera is. Let me install it properly, so we can have our camera for our tarot cards. I got to find a quicker method in doing this, but I think I found a good method. Let me see, make sure the camera angle looks good. I guess it'll do. Oh, goodness gracious. I hope you guys had a great weekend. My weekend, my neck is just driving me crazy. My head is driving me crazy. Trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I know I got a very important week coming up. So hopefully I'll get some more answers to the questions that I have. And the question is, what the fuck is going on with my head? Is what I would like to know. Because am I having like a phenomenal type of event with my head? And because every night I'm having this little problem with my brain. And I don't want to go to the fucking emergency room. I already know if I go to the emergency room, they're gonna want to do all this stuff and poke me with needles, and I'd rather fucking die, to be honest with you, than go to the emergency room. It's just, I think it's more painful going to the emergency room than it is dying, and that's the damn truth. And let's see, let me see if this camera is how it's looking. Okay, it's looking okay. Just gotta adjust it a little bit here. Give me one sec. There we go. Oh, it's looking good. It's good. Okay, so we have that for tarot readings. If anybody wants a tarot reading, just let me know. Pull you a couple of cards. I'll probably pull out a couple of cards for a couple of stories that we're going to be watching. It's not going to be a long night, so it's going to be a good night. And let's see what we have in store here. Let's go for our first story. How about that?
We do want to get into another sports story, obviously one that happened overnight in New York City as New York Jets defensive back Chris Boyd is now in critical condition after being shot in the heart of the city. I do want to put this here on Live Now from Fox. From
a shooting in New York City? Not surprised.
Jets cornerback Chris Boyd in critical condition after being shot early. He's in stable condition at Manhattan's Bellevue Hospital after sustaining a gunshot
stable condition
thereafter outside of a midtown restaurant. We're also hearing more reporting from The Athletic talking about this critical but stable. The Jets said in a statement that the team is, quote, aware of the situation involving Chris Boyd and will have no further comment at the time. And these coming after a Thursday night game the Jets played, so they are not in a game today. One of his teammates on social media, Jermaine Johnson, posting this, saying, everyone, please send prayers to my brother and teammate Chris Boyd and his family. Lord, please help. Hold your healing hand over Chris and guide him back to health and safety. Lord, I ask you, please.
I wonder how this should happen.
This safely in your name. Amen. So that coming in from Jermaine Johnson. I want to give you some more information about this. And reporting from the New York Post talking about it as Boyd, a 29-year-old, was shot outside a restaurant after a dispute turned violent with a gunman firing 2 shots. Chris Boyd is in his first season with the New York Jets after signing a 1-year, $1.6 million contract during free agency. He hasn't played yet, though, after suffering a season-ending shoulder injury in the preseason. A cornerback, he was a 7th-round
so
pick.
He's an injured player that got shot
with the Vikings before moving on to the Arizona Cardinals and Houston Texans before landing here with the New York Jets. He did play his college fall at Texas. So Chris Boyd now in critical but stable, frankly, the circumstances around which this happened overnight from Saturday into Sunday. A live picture there at the Big Apple. And as I also noted, the Jets not having a game today. They played on Thursday night, a loss in New England. They're back in action next Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens. But we're continuing to follow this closely here on Live Now from Fox.
Yeah, that's a weird story, to be honest with you. Like, to get shot up in New York.
Fox.
It's just weird.
We want to go to something tragic. The death of an ex-NFL star, Doug Martin, identified as the suspect who died in Oakland police custody earlier this past weekend. We want to get the full breakdown right now from TMZ. Let's bring in our friends over there, Edward Lewis with TMZ Sports. Great to have you on, Edward.
All right, this is an older video. I saw this one a while back. All right, let's go ahead and keep it moving. Of course, the audio. Fucking shit, man. What the fuck is wrong with StreamYard? You know, I think I'm gonna take a hiatus from StreamYard and stop streaming for a little bit. And I'm gonna call them to see if we could get this shit worked out, because every single time, every show, it always fucks up my audio. And a lot of people are like, "Yeah, I love StreamYard." Fuck StreamYard. StreamYard sucks. They never get their shit like right. Every show, it's like I always gotta like restart the whole shit because their audio doesn't work or some visuals doesn't work. It's always some shit that doesn't work. My goodness gracious, StreamYard. Like, I don't even feel like wanting to give you any of my money anymore because it's bullshit.
You know, when you send an aircraft carrier into, the Caribbean, it's not just that ship, it's all of its escort ships. Is this just kind of a bit of saber rattling, or is it likely that there's going to be military force employed here?
Well, it could actually run the gamut, John. It could be just an exercise to see how quickly we can muster forces in the region to handle any kind of contingency. If you look at what President Trump has done in this second administration, it's really to reinvigorate the Monroe Doctrine. And he does not want Russia and he does not want China meddling in the Western Hemisphere. So by pulling all this together, does it send a signal? Yes, immediately. Because aircraft carriers are not defensive weapon systems. They are offensive weapon systems. So in fact, if you look at the forces that have been deployed, it's about 15 ships, including a Marine Expeditionary Unit and the amphibious shipping. So are they going to stage an Iwo Jima type assault on Venezuela? Probably not. But we have to start looking at what else has been going on in the entire region, whether it's the drugs coming up from Mexico, whether it's Colombia getting still in the cocaine business. So the going in position is, yes, we're going to stop the seaborne assault of drugs coming into the United States. In the long term, you've got a lot of firepower there, and you don't muster it just for the heck of it. So we'll have to see what the president has in mind. But he gave the CIA authorization to conduct operations in Venezuela over a month ago. So there's a lot going on down there.
Interesting. You mentioned the Iwo Jima, and if our control room, pardon me, can put up the map again, the Iwo Jima is one of the ships that is present there in the Caribbean. What about detractors, though, who say, you're spending a lot of money on this show of force, whether you use those ships or not, and if you're not going to use them, that's a waste. What do you say?
You're still wasting money.
I say that they're offering a red herring, because those sailors, soldiers, airmen, Marine, and Coast Guardsmen are going to be paid whether they're there or somewhere else on the planet.
Yep.
The ship was on deployment. The ships that are down there were on deployments anyway. They've just been repositioned. So this is, I think this is going in position is stopping the drugs. The broader picture here is this is the United States hemisphere. Do not come and play here, because everything you're playing is dirty, and we're going to stop it.
Senator Rick Scott of nearby Florida talks about what the Maduro regime really represents. Listen to Senator Scott.
Look, think about Maduro. Maduro's not the president. He's not the duly elected president of Venezuela. He's the head of drug cartels. It's basically a drug cartel-run country right now. So I think President Trump's doing the right thing. Congress should not slow him down.
But what do you think the mood will be in Congress if the president decides to take some kind of military action?
Well, I think it will be a slight majority in favor and a smaller minority against, as it has been since he took the oath of office this time. He has a divided Congress, absolutely. Some Republicans would probably fall into that category as well as not supporting if it's direct military action. I don't believe he will take direct military action in Venezuela, and he pretty much said so recently. So whether he wants to send that message to Maduro that he's on borrowed time, and we don't understand because we don't have insight into what the psychological operations and the clandestine operations that are taking place inside Venezuela now. We don't know what fruit those operations will bear. But Maduro stole the last election. Our Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has been very insistent on saying that he is not the legitimate president of Venezuela. And the recent award of the Peace Prize to Maria Machado goes further into saying that the Democrat opposition to Maduro is supported by the vast majority of the free nations of the world.
It's a wealthy country that has been hijacked by a bunch of thugs, and it's unfortunate what's happening to the people in Venezuela, many of whom have fled the country. Retired Navy Captain Chuck Nash. It's good to have you on, Chuck. Thanks.
Nice to be back with you, John.
Hey, it's Will Kane.
Okay, let's keep it moving. A lot of young guys there. This is in Mexico. I'm telling you, Jesus needs to blow up this fucking planet already. I don't know what he's waiting for. Mexico. I don't know what's going on here. This looks crazy. That's what it looks like. I know an easier way to get rid of all these people all at once. You just get a flamethrower. Get a flamethrower and you throw it out at these people and they all will run. They won't be doing none of this shit. They'll end up being burnt. Does this look nice and friendly? This is Mexico. Mexico City. It's very crazy. How long is this trip for? Another 30 seconds? I'm surprised they're not shooting these people with rubber bullets or rubber stuff. Like they're getting killed big time. That's crazy. That's what's on officers. And they're not doing shit about it. They're just playing defense. That's crazy. Well, that's what you get, Mexico. And we're gonna finish. We're gonna go actually. Let me bring it to me. I actually got 3 back-to-back of Liberal Hive Mind, and then I'm gonna wrap up the show because it's Sunday and I'm not gonna be here all night. So let's go ahead and set this up. And if something breaks between now and the Liberal Hive Mind, then I'll show it. Other than that, we're going to move on and have a good night. So let's go ahead and set this up here real quick. Here we go.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And here's your meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. Yeah, well, they called it a conspiracy theory. They said there was nothing to it. Obamagate.
Obamagate.
They said there was nothing to it and we were crazy. They sneered, they mocked, and of course they attempted to censor. And now, after nearly a decade sealed in a CIA vault, it seems like the truth is finally crawling out into the light. The Russia hoax was not an accident. It wasn't a genuine investigation. It didn't appear out of nowhere and the feds just picking it up and seeing where the facts would take them. No, it was an intelligence operation run against the American people, an operation against the Trump campaign and then the Trump administration. The whole thing was an intelligence operation, a fabrication to kneecap a duly elected president and hopefully to unseat a duly elected president. And the idea that Barack Obama wasn't involved, well, it's getting harder and harder to deny. Obamagate is real, and it seems as though we might have just got our hands on the receipts. Tulsi Gabbard hits us with a massive, massive announcement. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so just take a look at this Fox News report.
The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing a bombshell report today that shows a conspiracy by a sitting president, Barack Obama, and his intel agencies to sabotage the president-elect, Donald Trump. brainwash the electorate and undermine the legitimacy of an election.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't.
Gabbard got her hands on a House intel report that's been locked away in a CIA vault for almost a decade. Investigators spent over 2,000 hours looking into how the Russia hoax was born, interviewing 20 CIA and FBI officials. And it turns out that the Obama administration doctored the intelligence to make it look like Putin and Trump stole the election. A month after Trump beat Hillary, Barack Obama wasn't satisfied with his intelligence reporting and ordered his CIA director to create a new assessment of how Russia interfered with the election. This was a highly unusual move. John Brennan handpicked 5 CIA analysts to write the assessment. There was nothing routine about this, and it was a rush job to publish before Trump was sworn in. There were 4 key elements from the assessment that were repeated over and over again and formed the basis of the Russia hoax and the Robert Mueller witch hunt. 1, that Vladimir Putin wanted Donald Trump to win. 2, Putin took action to help Trump win. 3, the Russians had blackmail on Trump. That was the Steele dossier. And 4, that the Russians tried colluding with the Trump campaign. None of any of this was ever true. There was no reliable intelligence to support any of these allegations. Senior CIA officials repeatedly refused to traffic in these allegations, but they were repeatedly overruled by CIA Director Brennan and FBI Director Comey, who insisted that they be pushed, even without verifiable evidence. The Obama administration cherry-picked the intelligence, lied about their sources, misquoted sources, didn't corroborate their claims, suppressed intelligence that ran counter to their narratives, and even used anonymous internet postings. Rank and file CIA admitted what they were doing violated their own tradecraft standards. There was a massive pressure campaign that came right from the top. CIA analysts say they received unusual directives from political appointees, the CIA director, and Obama himself. This is how the Russia hoax was born. What this report actually shows is that the Russians just wanted to create chaos and undermine Americans' faith in democracy. Solid intelligence suggested that Vladimir Putin didn't care who won. He had no preference. Obama and his spy chiefs knew that Putin didn't prefer Trump over Hillary, but they cooked the intelligence to make it look like he did. Obama and his intel spies knew that Putin didn't collude with Trump and that he didn't even direct his people to help Trump win, but they put it out there anyway. Barack Obama, the CIA, and the FBI were the ones doing what our enemy wanted.
Do you believe that any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior? We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former President Obama?
Correct. The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
Holy frickin' moly. 20 former CIA and FBI insiders are now blowing the whistle, and they're pointing the finger directly at Barack Obama. This, my friends, was what Peter Strzok and Lisa Page were referring to as their backup plan. The Hillary Clinton campaign needed a failsafe for 2016. They needed to manufacture a narrative bomb that they could wield against Donald Trump, and so enter in the Steele dossier. Enter in a foreign British spy falsifying evidence to create this little insurance policy that they needed. Gone through Russiagate a million frickin' times. But now it seems like the whole thing might have been orchestrated by Barack Obama. And that was the core claim of Obamagate in the first place. Well, that's telling us that this whole thing was a coordinated political weaponization campaign. And I don't know about you guys, but it seems like we might be on the precipice of something absolutely massive. We've got new documents relating to the Clinton Foundation's cash machine. We've got supposedly new evidence suggesting a Biden bribe from the Ukrainian energy firm Burisma to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, $5 million each. We've got cases against Comey, against Strzok, against Brennan, all of it now under the microscope, and now even potentially people cooperating with the federal government and pointing the finger at Barack Obama, either we're getting hit with the biggest case of blue balls ever, or something massive is about to freaking drop. And please, leftoids, spare me the pearl clutching about norms, as if we're just supposed to forget what you guys did to President Trump, all those trumped up charges, frivolous cases, manufactured narratives, lawfare from every freaking angle. You forced him to defend himself in courts. Now I guess it's your turn. You guys set the freaking rules, right? No one is above the law. Well, you don't get to hide behind that classified label forever. And if we can find the evidence that proves that you attempted to undo an election, sway voters, blame anybody, you fully meet justice. And really, that was the political persecution, the accountability that's coming back for you, that boomerang that's now on its way back at full speed, that is on you. You know, I'm still skeptical because you know how this stuff works, right? It's kind of hard to get actual incriminating evidence and make this stuff stick. But I don't know, it certainly feels like we might be moving in that direction. This may, in fact, be the accountability moment that, you know, we thought would never actually come. It seems like the dam might be breaking. I guess let's just see where it all goes. Let's see what happens with this investigation into Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, now John Brennan. Let's wait for an evidence drop relating to Barack Obama and his alleged involvement here. No one is above the law. Let's let the facts take us to the truth and then make judgments from there. In other words, let's do exactly what the Democrats pretended they were doing when they were indicting President Trump, except with real evidence, real cases that won't fall apart like their pathetic lawfare campaigns. Things may just get a little bit interesting. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
I definitely think it's going to be very interesting. And you'll see. We are going to go into some kind of conflict very soon. And if we do, it'll be with Venezuela, right? It's a pretty big country, you know, and how is that going to fare out, you know, and how the United States is going to do. I mean, they got all the ships out there. They got a lot of equipment out there. I mean, they can do the job. It's like, yeah, I understand too. Every bomb, every bullet, that shit costs money. That shit ain't cheap. The taxpayers are paying for that. You know, I think the people forget. Every bomb that's made and detonated, that's our money being blown away. Okay? It's like fireworks. You know, you buy all these fireworks, you burn them all up. At the end, what has it done for you? It entertained you for a few minutes, but hundreds of dollars just burnt and gone for a moment. You know, if we're going to go start something, we're going to be finishing something. We can't just start and then let it run for as long as, no. We need a start and an end, and that's it. You know, and we got the equipment out there to do that. So, and it's scary. We're living in very, very, very scary times. It's something that like it's kind of like biblical. You know, it's hard to like not say, but it's like, is the end coming? Are we coming towards the end? Is it? That's it. That's how we go out. How does the world go? Right now, we're not in a good position, and I guess they really want to go after the drugs and destroy it. And I think it's because of one individual that it's kind of like Trump is like, you know what? If we attack them at the source, get them out, we could slow down the drugs, and that would hurt Hunter Biden so much. He will cry every night if he doesn't have his fix. Okay. Yeah, you know, Hunter still does his thing, and I'm sure he that guy's a mess. That guy's a fucking mess. But Trump going after Venezuela, and you know, and Colombia is right next door, and why not go after them too? Because they are really polluting the market with all this cocaine and other drugs that flow from there. And like, if you're gonna start a war on drugs, you're gonna have to start a war with South America. You're gonna have to start a whole war with South America, like the whole continent. There you go. We're starting a war with you guys because the whole fucking continent is full of fucking drugs. Like Brazil. Oh, let's not even get started with Peru or any Ecuador, any of those fucking places in South America. Name, let's play Carmen San Diego and name your countries in South America. Like you have your choice, and they're all full of drugs. It's all polluted. That's what I'm saying. The world needs to blow up at one hit, and just destroy everything all at once. And that'll be great because we get to all be together no matter what, but in a different form. And that's called energy. Hey, Albie. Hey, Terry. How you doing? Sorry, I'm late. No, you're not late, man. I'm just going through some news and stuff and just speaking. That's all. Oh, shit. Look what I have here. I have a little surprise. You want to see a little surprise? This is what makes me happy every day when I wake up. This is what makes me happy. The 21st strike. Poof. Gone. Drugs terminated. We're not accepting drugs anymore. You're not going to be bringing that shit here anymore. That's it. No more drugs. And that right there probably saved a lot of lives. A lot of lives. But they were like, oh no, because you're killing them. Bitch, you shouldn't have been transporting no drugs in the begin with. Like, you want to pretend you're fishing? Boom. There you go. You are not allowed in these waters transporting drugs anymore. That's it. No more. Look at all the drugs. You can even see it. You can even see it. Come on, man. Oh, here we go. Listen, look at this shit. Bye-bye. Oh. Terminated. Colombia has been importing the shit for decades. Decades? More. Man, they've been at it for the longest. We're talking about like maybe it's like a fucking century. Like way back in the days, they still had drugs, and transporting drugs. What do you think the pirates used to do? Like only drink wine, drink rum and shit. Like no, they had drugs too, and they used to trade. They used to trade all this like drugs and so forth. They used to trade. So people had like a trading post where you trade off your goods and you just trade goods. And that used to be a real thing. That's how like a lot of the slaves. That's how they came to Puerto Rico because they kind of like traded them for goods and services, and then we had a lot of slaves, not only from Africa. Like that's why I'm just like all these people, like the black people, understand. They're like, oh my god, slavery! Like slavery is not your word. Slavery was not just black people. Like slavery was like white people, Spanish people, Indian people. There were so many different types of slaves that you just were sold by your own people to be slaves. If your own people didn't put you up and sold you guys, then you would have never been able to use that word because your people would have taken care of you. But your people didn't even give a fuck about you and sold you guys. So don't come over here trying to claim fucking slavery and oh my god, slaves, oh racism, oh shut the fuck up. Oh my god. It's so annoying. Like people don't know history. It's like I feel like 99% of the population here of the world failed history. Like it's crazy. All right, let's see what this is about here. Oh, it's Trump. Let's see.
I sort of made up my mind. I mean, I can't tell you me, but I sort of made.
President Trump puts Venezuela on notice as the Pentagon launches Operation Southern Spirit. This is now a named operation to target narco networks across America. Let's break it down here at the Wall. About 25% of all deployed U.S. warships are now in the Caribbean with the arrival of USS Gerald Ford, the newest and largest warship in the U.S. Navy's inventory, joined by dozens of other warships, including guided missile destroyers, have a few guided missile cruisers in there, Lake Erie.
I want to see a Russian ship come in.
Assault ship, of course, with 2,000
Let's see a Russian ship cross over the Panama Canal
of course,
into this.
Off the coast of Venezuela. And don't forget, we have B-52 bombers from Barksdale Air Force.
And they're all around Puerto Rico.
We have fifth-generation F-35 fighter jets in Roosevelt Roads, Puerto Rico over here. That's an old Navy base that has been shuttered for many years, now back. And of course, all this to combat the narco-terrorists that have been smuggling drugs across the Caribbean. And there's been 20 strikes against these suspected drug smuggling vessels, killing dozens. And right here, you also see the Oilers have arrived here as well. Of course, when the USS Gerald Ford arrives, it's the newest aircraft carrier. You have to refuel that. Of course, it has 2 nuclear power plants on board that aircraft carrier, but you have to refuel the jet aircraft. And in addition to the bombers, of course, you have the Marines, you have the F-35s. We talked about that in Puerto Rico. Again, about a quarter of all U.S. Navy warships deployed in the world right now are here off the coast of Venezuela in the Caribbean, ready for any potential orders from the commander-in-chief to strike. And with that, let's bring in our guest, Rebecca Heinrichs, Hudson Institute Senior Fellow and Foreign Policy Expert, no stranger to the program. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning, Lucas. Good to see you.
Do you think regime change is possible in Venezuela? Something we've heard many questions asked to President Trump.
Well, I think that President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio has been pretty clear that this is really to pressure the regime to stop sending drugs, that the Maduro regime is a narco-terrorist organization. It allows its territory to be used for the shipment of drugs, trafficking. And so that is the primary reason that has been given. But as you point out, Lucas, that's a lot of firepower in the region. And so I think really it's an enormous effort to pressure Maduro to stop this narco-terrorism. But also, I think it also is to perhaps incentivize some of the military around Maduro, potentially to pressure Maduro to leave, to maybe encourage Maduro to leave on his own. I'm very skeptical that he will. I'm also very skeptical, Lucas, that the United States is going to go forward with what would amount to the necessary force needed for regime change to something more peaceful in the region.
One of the things we talked about with all these warships in the Ford strike group, of course, the guided missile destroyers and some of the cruisers that are out there, of course, they're armed with dozens of Tomahawk cruise missiles. If President Trump were to order some kind of strikes on Venezuela, what would the target set look like, Rebecca? And should force be necessary, would you be recommending strikes against the Maduro regime inside Venezuela?
Well, President Trump's administration has been really pretty close, keeping its cards close to its vest about what some of the intelligence they have and what they're actually looking at inside Venezuela. So I wouldn't be able to give advice, but I would say that if there are strikes, I would speculate that those strikes would be against the cartels, drugs specifically, not targets that would threaten the Maduro regime proper. The reason for that, Lucas, is that the Maduro regime is obviously militarily inferior to the United States, but it's also backed by the Russians and the Chinese and the Cubans. And we learned this back in 2019 when the Russians sent forces into Venezuela to kind of back Maduro and to intimidate the United States. So I think it would be a mess for the United States to get involved in regime change specifically, because it would take a lot of U.S. power to get opposition forces that we want, the pro-democracy people, in power in Venezuela. So I think this is more intimidation, Lucas, and then also the strikes would be against the cartel organizations and the drug drug, the cocaine operations that is ongoing in Venezuela.
And one of the assets not listed on the board, of course, are Reaper drones. That's what's been carrying out the vast majority of those strikes on those drug boats. Let's look ahead, Rebecca, to this week when President Trump hosts the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. What are you looking to come out of these meetings?
Well, obviously, the big goal here would be is if you had progress towards Saudi normalization with Israel, adding the Saudi government to the Abraham Accords.
How likely is that to happen?
I think it's still not yet. I think it's still probably premature, but that's always the goal because of Saudi Arabia's significance in the Muslim world. Obviously, it's the home of Medina and Mecca, key holy sites for the Islamic community. And to have that progress would be massive for greater stabilization in the Middle East. I think that this is going to be more United States collaborating with the Saudis militarily, greater integration, the weapon sales from the United States going to Saudi Arabia. And all of that would be good because we don't want the Saudis to be buying weapons from the Chinese. So we want to pull the Saudis more into our corner.
Quick yes or no, Rebecca, to put you on the spot. Should F-35 stealth fighter jets be sold to the Saudis?
I think it would be okay as long as the Israelis do not oppose. And the Israeli government said as long as normalization comes first, they would be comfortable with that sale.
Well, thank you, Rebecca Heinrichs. Appreciate you stopping by.
I'm Steve Ducey. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
I mean, the F-35s to the Saudis, how do I feel about that? It's not about me. Let's see what the cards have to say about that. F-35s going to the Saudis. That is going to be... How are they going to do that? The U.S. is always going to have control no matter what, even on those jets. I wonder... I mean, how many jets are they're gonna get? What's the deal? You know? And why Israel always has to step up and talk? Like it always has to deal with Israel. Like Israel, like you're like this, Israel. You're like this, and the world is like this. And you're like this, and then you're trying to dictate is crazy. Trying to dictate. Motherfuckers, man. Oh. 4 cards just thrown out. Just went flying. Let's see how good. The full card. 7 of Cups, Page of Wands in reverse, the Sun in reverse, and the 2. Okay. 2 of Pentacles, the Sun in reverse, the Page of Wands in reverse, the 7 of Cups, and the Fool. I don't think it's a good idea. Well, the cards, it's what it's telling me is not a good idea. There's a lot of uncertainty. And the fact that they're going to be selling the F-35s, I didn't even put it to zoom in. That's crazy. The F-35s, they're going to bring them... And you got to translate it, right? Are you going to make the planes Arabic language? And everything's going to be on Arabic? Like, it's not going to be English. It's going to be English, and they're going to have Arabic fighters and English jets. I don't know. You know, is it a good thing? No, not really. You know, it's like between the 2 of Pentacles, the Sun in reverse, the Page of Wands in reverse, 7 of Cups upright, and the Fool. I don't think it's a good idea to make that big jump, but we're still gonna do it because we're a bunch of fools anyways, and we're only in it for pretty much the money. That's what it's about. It's the Saudis. What protection do they need against Iran? You think Iran's gonna attack Saudi Arabia? Are you crazy? Like, yeah, we're being played for sure, and it's all part of the game. You know, it's all part of the game. The U.S. knows it has its advantages towards the F-35s. They know what they're capable of, and if the U.S. ever needed to go against their own made aircrafts, are they capable of winning? And I believe so. I believe we got good futuristic weapons that they're not releasing yet because they're not stupid. The United States this is like a poker match. You know, I feel like it's a poker match, and you know they're not gonna show their hands very easily. They're not gonna just like, oh yeah, here's everything. Let me tell you everything. No, you're gonna hold a lot of those good cards close to your heart, and you're not going to release it that easily because we have a lot of futuristic weapons that will blow your motherfucking mind. You're like, holy shit, are you for real? Like, yeah, it's like very scary. It's very scary. Um, and I hope we don't get to use them, but if we have to, we have to. And you know, with this all this talk with the nuclear weapons and Trump pretty much directing to start testing our nuclear weapons, is that a good idea? We all know that answer. No, it's not a good idea. It's not. But I understand where he's coming from by testing because we have not tested in over 32 years, 33 years, maybe 34 years. We haven't tested a nuclear weapon. So we got to make sure our shit works and our shit is up to date because we have even more futuristic weapons that China doesn't know about. They don't. They wish. They wish they could see what I see. Holy shit. Yeah. But it's like, will we ever get to use them? You know? And is the world going to push to that point? I mean, if we do get to that point, I would like to be alive to see it and just see everything unfold and see things get blown up in the sky and everyone like full blitz, the world in full blitz. That would be damning for sure. It doesn't surprise me that all this is happening while 3I Atlas is passing. Like, and the fact that NASA has not released any information or pictures, or they're blaming it on the shutdown. Listen to this shit. We blame the shutdown because of the shutdown. We weren't able to take any pictures of it. Does that sound like? Does that sound like so stupid? Once in a lifetime event that's happening, possibly a Jesus moment happening, and you can say, "Oh no, because the shutdown was happening, we can't take pictures, and we're not getting paid, so we're not working." And these people are multi-millionaires that are working at NASA. They don't think that they get paid minimum wage to work at NASA. No. Like all these scientists and all these people, they get paid millions, and they got beautiful homes, and they're always there in a call. They're there, you know, because they live in Florida, and NASA's not really a space agency anymore. It's it's kind of like the FBI. It's another operative, like a black ops type of thing. That's what NASA is now. and they have a lot of secrets, and they know what's going on with 3i Atlas, and they know everything that's happening. How come we're not getting any information from the Vatican? So the Vatican, what they're doing with their telescope, and they're not monitoring 3i Atlas at all? No. It's not for the world attention. It's not the biggest, greatest thing and that's happening to mankind, that's happening right now in our lifetimes, that will probably never happen again in humanity. Nah, it's not important. You know what's more important? The Epstein files. The Epstein files. I give up in society. You mentioned Epstein to me, and I'm just like, I give up. Because it's like you're hypnotized. You fall into their trap. I see the news, and I feel it. I feel for what it is. I don't just watch it and just like not digest it. I digest it in energy wise and how it makes me feel. And I tell you, this Epstein stuff, if they really wanted to get Trump on this, they would have got it long ago. And the fact that now, it's so convenient that his first year back as the second term president, we're going to bring back the Epstein. No, don't worry about 3i Atlas. No. Have the Democrats scream Epstein to the top of their lungs. How many failed dossiers is going to take for you guys to realize y'all being played? And society falls for it. You see them out there outside the ICE facilities and protecting the illegal criminals. That's who they want to protect. The question is, why? Why they want to protect them? Why they want them here so badly? Could it be the drugs? Could it be the influence? What is it? Oh, the vote. Oh, yeah, the vote. We'll give you some food stamps. We'll pay your rent. We'll give you a brand new car. We'll give you clothes. Give you all the food that you want. But on election day, you make sure you vote for the Democrats. That's what it is. That's what it's about. And the fact that these illegals are still here, they're procreating. They're doing and 9 months later, you got a little brat. And now you got a family here that is multiplying like hamsters. Okay. And now we're pretty much poisoning our blood here with the illegals that are coming into our country. So the infiltration is already here. Their matter is getting into other people's matter, American matter, and polluting it. And now they're growing feelings for the illegals because he's my husband. We've been here for 15 years, 20 years without a problem. The problem is you came into this country illegal, you overstayed your visa, you crossed over illegally, whatever's the case, you're on the wrong. And you're not supposed to be here. So grandpa that's 73 years old that's been in this country for over 40 years illegally and they got caught by ICE, guess what, grandpa? You're going back to your country of origin. That's it. This has been neglected for way too long. All this illegal immigrants like bullshit that's going on has been going on for way too long. Way too long. It's like the never-ending story. It never ends. And we got to fund that. We got to feed it. All those millions upon millions of people are eating up our resources. That's why our food is so expensive today. There's nothing cheap. Go to McDonald's. What's the cheapest menu item? $10. And that's for like 2 cheeseburgers, a fry, a medium fry, and a medium drink. 2 cheeseburgers. $10. Think that into your mind. Everything's expensive because there's too many fucking people here. There's too many people here. And we got to get them out. And hundreds at a time is not enough. We need to be thousands in a day deported out of this country. Thousands, not hundreds. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, Liberal Hive Mind. Let's see what this one's about. I like his show. It's a really good show.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's your meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. California is broken. I mean, at this point, I think to many people, it's a lost freaking cause. And while you could look at Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass and the rest of these clowns and just chalk it up to incompetence, as if California is broken by accident, I think if you take that approach, you're a little too charitable, possibly naive. I don't think California is broken by accident. I think it's engineered failure. I think it's done on purpose. I think California is one of the most bureaucratically corrupt places on planet Earth. And I'm not saying that based on nothing. No, I'm saying it based on the continued compiling of just absolutely insane stories of mismanagement. Money just disappearing. And California is not a small state. So if we're talking about massive amounts of dollars disappearing in California, we're talking about millions, if not billions of dollars in fraud. It's kind of like a weird distortion of California's history, because we know California was created off a gold rush, people heading there to make it big on gold. And now it seems like the same history exists, except the gold rush is not mining actual precious metals. No, it's tax dollars being funneled to consultants and developers and bureaucrats who are getting rich off the massive tax coffers and tax collections while everything around them decays. Let's talk about what's being exposed in California right now. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so I want to start off with this clip right over here. We've got this absolute Giga Chad who shows up at the LA City Council, and he raises a pretty interesting point about California's homelessness initiatives.
Now, when we look at the spending that we're actually doing, it's mostly inside safe spending, right? And so far, we have spent $450 million to permanently house 1,144 people. $450 million to permanently house 1,100 people. That's an absolute failure. But that money is going, so like that money is just falling into the abyss. That money ends up being somebody's profit. The nonprofit industrial complex who's making a ton of money off of it, and who are politically connected, Hugo and Nithya and Karen Bass, of course, and actually all of you people.
You heard that right. $450 million to permanently house 1,100 people. Freeze that number in your mind. That is roughly $400,000 per person. And where's the progress? Well, there isn't much. And it's crazy to think because, at $400,000 a person, you could build some beautiful suburban homes for those people. But instead, what do you have in California? You have freaking boxes, tent cities. They haven't accomplished jack squat. And that's because we know where the money is going. This guy said the quiet part out loud. The money's going straight into the pockets of government bureaucrats, consultants, and again, developers. And that's because they don't want to solve homelessness. No, homelessness is the industry. These layers of nonprofits where all the money's being passed through. All the impact reports, on-the-ground studies, constant services, 7-figure contracts for government-connected cronies, and no frickin' accomplishment. If you're spending that kind of of money, you should have a whole lot to show for it. But they've got nothing. And it's obvious how the scheme works. You got the powers that be, you got City Hall declaring an emergency. They suspend competitive guardrails and then wave in all the trusted partners. Then the money just flows to development shells and connected consultants. And by the time the audits come in, the money's already gone, mostly spent on fees, markups, technical assistance. The bureaucracy keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. More fees, more experts, more consultants, more developing companies connected, but nothing being built, nothing to see for it. Failure justifies more funding for the next cycle. Government cannot fix the problem because government is the marketplace. There's no bureaucratic profit to be made in solving a problem. No, the incentive is making sure that all the bureaucrats and their friends get the payout. And it's happening across the board on various different scales across California. It's not just that one housing initiative in Los Angeles, no, but it's happening on the state level as well.
Of where billions of California tax dollars intended to solve homelessness ended up. California has spent more than $24 billion over the last 5 years with little to no progress in solving our homelessness epidemic. California state officials failed to provide meaningful oversight over the individuals who received most of these funds, and they had little to no answers to the public's demand for accountability. Well, that accountability starts today. Today, we are announcing significant developments into our investigation. We're making public 2 criminal cases relating to 2 separate real estate developers who were involved in misappropriating millions of state funds intended to combat homelessness. This morning, federal agents arrested Cody Holmes and the former CFO of Shangri-La Industries, a downtown LA-based developer of affordable housing, for defrauding the Home Key program that is administered by the state of California. The program awarded grant money, which included federal tax dollars, for specific projects to convert motels into housing for the homeless and to operate the units. By April of 2022, Shangri-La Industries, where Holmes was the CFO, had co-applied with multiple California cities to convert numerous properties in California, including a location in Thousand Oaks. The state asked for proof that the company had the financial capacity to build all the projects. In response, Holmes and Shangri-La knowingly submitted fake bank statements which claimed to show that developer had about $160 million on deposit. Not only were the bank statements fake, our investigation shows that Shangri-La and its affiliates had nowhere near the amount of money they claimed they had in the fake bank statements.
That's the U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California, Bill Asaley, and he basically lays it all out. Gavin Newsom has spent $24 billion on homelessness, and he's made little progress and provided very little meaningful oversight. And you've got these massive connected developers who are taking public funds, creating assets, selling them off for massive profits. They're essentially engaged in an arbitrage scheme using taxpayer money. $24 billion to fix homelessness. But I guess what they really meant when Gavin Newsom announced that, what was it, like 15 freaking years ago? They meant an ocean of cash for all their friends and cronies. It's fraud upon fraud upon fraud. And it's not just in the spending. It's how business is done. I mean, just take the CDL scandal that's currently going on in California, which, by the way, federal government, thanks to President Trump, has finally cracked down and forced California to revoke 17,000 licenses.
California is pulling 17,000 migrant truckers from behind the wheel, revoking their commercial driver's licenses. This move follows harsh backlash from the Trump administration and comes weeks after that deadly semi-truck crash in Southern California involving a driver said to be in the United States illegally.
But it's going to take some time for that to happen, with the audits ordered by Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy delayed in the wake of that government shutdown. Right now, the Transportation Secretary is taking aim at California Governor Gavin Newsom, calling the state's decision to revoke thousands of licenses an admission they were granted to people living in the country illegally. He's threatening to revoke $160 million in federal funding if California doesn't take these CDLs from every illegal immigrant. Meanwhile, the governor firing back by pointing out those work permits were issued by the federal government. His team says those licenses were revoked because they would have expired after those drivers' legal status in the United States runs out. The head of the American Trucking Association says, regardless, we need the safest people behind those 40-ton trucks.
And of course, Gavin Newsom didn't do that because he has a conscience, because he wanted to do the right thing. No, they were forced to, and it just exposes the rot in this state. And just zoom out and look at the pattern. Homelessness dollars being plundered. Immigration scams out the freaking wazoo. And it likely goes a whole lot further when it comes to government entitlements and possibly even voting. This is a state that runs on fraud. You know, California has the biggest economy in the nation. Gavin Newsom's always boasting about that, but what do they have to show for it in terms of all the tax dollars that they spend? They've got nothing to show for it. They can't even clear their forests or have a stockpile of water during wildfire season. The richest freaking state with the worst performance, the worst taxpayer dollar ROI. This is a state where fraud, abuse, corruption runs rampant. It's basically the status quo, and we just keep seeing that on full display. Anyways, that's what I got. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
All right, so we're going to go right to the next one.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And here's your meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. It's funny how quickly things shift, huh? You know, last week it was the end of democracy as we know it. But now this week it's inflation. And right back to trying to reheat Taco Trump meme that so clearly failed on its first attempt, and the move from this point of existential threat to now dishonest talking points relating to inflation really, I think, highlights just how fundamentally unserious the Democrats really are. There's no existential threat, and even on this economic talking point, there's no real story of economic doom here. No, it's all narrative. The Dems now want you to believe that Donald Trump has failed on his tariff policies. He's chickening out, and that he's given up, and he's finally admitting that his tariffs are causing crippling inflation and making the economy worse. But of course, the reality is much different. And the only thing that's really on display is Democrat dishonesty and their clear attempt to try to shift the conversation here away from literally anything but Obamacare, anything but Chuck Schumer's pathetic failed shutdown. Anyways, let's take a look at what they're saying, and let's, of course, try to administer the facts as we usually do. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so the White House basically just trimmed a couple select food tariffs to relieve pressure on some products that have increased in cost. We're talking coffee, banana, beef, and a few other items. And I think the key word there is targeted items. These are tariffs that have been removed without abandoning the broader trade posture.
President Trump saying he'll reduce tariffs on some imported foods, a way to lower grocery prices as he's faced pressure over the cost of living.
This order exempts hundreds of products from the president's so-called reciprocal tariffs, a move aimed at lowering grocery prices. It impacts imported agricultural products, things like coffee, tea, bananas, other tropical fruits. The move comes as the White House has completed more trade deals, but also as President Trump has faced significant pressure to keep campaign promises to lower prices. Grocery prices overall are up slightly, around 1% since the president took office back in January, but ground beef is up 13%, orange juice up 17%. Beef and oranges are on the list of imports now exempted from the tariff. The order also lists suggesting there could still be more changes to come.
And so the act is targeted, it's pragmatic, it's precise, but now in comes the left to try to blow it out of proportion as they usually do. Steam Brothers, I don't know, Ed Bryan, who gives a crap?
He's back. Donald Trump has chickened out yet again. And this time he's confirmed what Democrats have inflation. He's now signed because, get this, Americans are complaining about inflation. And MAGA calls this the art of the deal. Can you say taco? Trump always chickens out.
Ooh, Donald Trump BTFO'd. He's always chickening out. And my favorite talking point,
what, to pay
Donald
more?
Trump admits the tariffs cause inflation, and he's now backing off. Well, no, here's the problem. First of all, inflation is a rate of change on an overall price level.
Shave that
The tariff
beard.
is a
Look
one-time
weird.
relative price adjustment on a category. If you impose it, prices step up once, and that's it. Then if you trim it, guess what? The price goes right back down. That's not a threat of runaway inflation. And what's the mission of President inflation? It's a targeted response to how people are feeling. And the distinction here. And if anything, President Trump deserves credit. This is why markets have been positive post supposed tariff apocalypse. The president is maintaining a strategic posture. He's fine-tuning where needed. He's seeing what's going on. He's reanalyzing the strategy and then making changes as he goes. He's a dynamic character. He's not static, boxing himself in a political position and then riding that straight off a freaking cliff. He's a dynamic businessman. And obviously what he's noticed is that, yes, food costs have gone up big time in the Biden era. And now on particular goods, we've seen some supply chain disruptions. That's what's going on in beef and other industries. And so he's taking off the tariff to help compensate for that. So consumers have a little bit more breathing room. That's it. And obviously, I think in some cases, like with coffee, for instance, the Trump administration is realizing that there's no real strategic position there, especially when it comes to national security or protecting national sectors. And so that tariff's probably not coming back. Beef is a little bit different. Obviously, he wants to protect American ranchers. But again, there's been a massive supply shock. There's some major issues when it comes to raising cattle right now. And so in comes likely a temporary measure to help alleviate some of that pressure. That's all this is. Now, when it comes to other tariffs relating to actual important industries like steel, chips, electronics manufacturing, rare earth minerals, the list goes on, pharmaceuticals, well, all of that remains intact. In other words, Donald Trump hasn't chickened out of anything. And he certainly hasn't created runaway inflation. That's the funny thing. You know, we got all these Democrats posting the same screenshot. Oh, people are freaking out over the price of goods. Donald Trump inflation. It's almost like they think we're stupid. Like we have goldfish memory, as if we don't remember 4 years of Joe Biden inflationary spikes. And now, obviously, a lot of this next administration, they want the president to do something about it, which he is doing, but they're trying to now pin what Joe Biden did on Donald Trump and claim that somehow he's not only responsible for it, but he's also doing something wrong, pressing it, and somehow a hypocrite. The whole thing so dishonest, doesn't make any sense. In other words, it's typical Democrat rhetoric. But I mean, come on, just play the comparison.
When you look at overall inflation for the first year of Trump versus Biden, Biden, overall inflation was up. Groceries under Biden in that time, up 3.8%. With Trump, up 1.3%. And then when it comes to gas, this is crazy. Biden up 24.4%. With Trump, it is actually down 5.4%. That is where the biggest difference is. And we heard from the HUD Secretary, Scott Turner, this afternoon. They are racing to cut red tape for construction projects because the belief among officials here is that if housing is the number one place where people are getting killed when it comes to affordability, if people are cutting red tape and able to build more houses and apartments, then the prices will come down. Pretty basic supply and demand in play.
Trump deserves credit on inflation despite tariffs. And again, right here, this is the most important indicator. The cost of gas, well, it's down considerably. Wait till that starts to kick into effect and watch how prices come down. Trump deserves credit, but the Democrats, of course, will create an alternative reality where everything the president does must be a failure. Anything but doing proper analysis and telling the truth. They're desperate freaking losers, always chasing a damn headline, never interested in the actual results, and they're the biggest hypocrites in the freaking room. After 4 years of Joe Biden inflationary catastrophe, telling us that Bidenomics is working, prices aren't going up. No, you're just depressed from COVID. Again, Democrats lost the right to even speak on the issue of prices and inflation, and yet here they are once again lecturing us. Spare me, please. Give me a freaking break. And also, again, like I mentioned in the intro, what the hell happened to fascism threat to go from its end of democracy as we know it? This crap. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
All right. Well, that was great. Great upload. I mean, I tell you, if we get rid of the illegals, that's less mouths to feed. It will lower the prices because there will be more food. All right. I see the world keep just going in circles, and I'm the only one that's going straight. But everyone keeps doing they keep getting trapped. So when they get trapped, like with the Epstein trap and with the Biden trap, all that's a trap. And people are just stuck in that trap. I myself is not going to be fooled with that, and I'm just going to go and keep going up. Because y'all being played every day. They playing y'all. If they, the focus should be more on that 3-eye atlas. The whole world attention should be at 3-eye atlas. What the hell is it? Why is it here? Why is it doing what it's doing? Why is it changing colors? And why is it thrusting in different ways? And like, there's like 7 thrusts coming from this. Like, what is it? Oh, but NASA's gonna say, "Oh yeah, but it's the shutdown. The shutdown. It made it very difficult for us to, yeah, for us to do our work and for us to take pictures. We weren't able to take pictures. We weren't getting paid." Mm-hmm. So, did the shutdown also affect the Vatican? Because they have a telescope, a really good telescope, that could zoom in right at that 3-eye atlas and view it perfectly. You're going to tell me that all the telescopes we have on Earth cannot get a clear picture of 3-eye atlas? But you guys could share a clear picture of Pluto without a problem to me? But you can't even fucking get an object that's traveling through our solar system? I don't know. I just feel like the world is just too distracted to realize what really is going on. It's sad. But they want to worry about that Epstein. Oh boy. Well, all of the things that's happening in this world and what continues to happen in this world, they sure love Epstein so much. What? They want accountability? Okay. It's going to affect all the Democrats. You know, maybe some Republicans will come down, but what's the difference between Republicans and Democrats? I mean, last time I checked, we were all humans. It didn't matter what fucking party you come from. We're all humans. Oh, we forgot about that too, huh? Doesn't matter what party you're from or what party you it's a party. It's a group. It's no different than a gang. You know? You with the Reds or you with the Blues? And that's where I feel like humanity. That's where I fail humanity. Because humanity should be one, not broken into groups. But if we're going to play that game, okay. We'll play that game. I believe non-Americans should be winning any elections in America. Non-Americans should not be in any elections in America for any type of governorship or any type of governing body. It could be mayor, it could be governor of a state, it could be an attorney general, it could be even the fucking president of the United States, which we already had one violate. Yeah, Barack Hussein Obama. But yet we let Mandani just take over the financial district pretty much of the world. He let Mandani just become mayor. The infiltration of illegals into New York voted so many times that got this guy over the finish line. You know, this is the biggest win in Democratic history that Mandani did. The most votes ever for a Democratic that broke records is Madani. I wonder how he did that. I truly wonder how they did that. You know what? why America doesn't just go ahead and do a census. Why don't we just stop what we're doing right now and do an emergency census and see who the fuck is here and who's who, what's what, and track them all down. Catch your Pokemon, because we're going to get you and we're going to kick your ass right out of here. I'm telling you, Trump needs me in his administration. He said, look, I need a psychic. Get fucking Rick. And that's it. Take care of my cats. I'll help Trump. I tell him, listen, dude, this is what I feel. That's how I can tell you. You're doing a great job, but I think there's more that needs to be focused on. And we cannot just let immigrants come into our country and take over governorships and mayorships in this country. Can't just have them come in and infiltrate our government. You know, that's infiltration. Like, we need an insurrection act to be signed now to get these motherfuckers out of our government and out of our country. Like, all these people need to get out. I'm telling you, once you get all these people out, houses will be cheaper, gas will be cheaper, food will be cheaper, rent will be cheaper, insurance will be motherfucking cheaper. Like, do the math. My God, just take a moment and think. Like, just take one moment and just like think about it. If you have one less mouth to feed, how much money would that save in your pocket? Right? So if you have too many mouths, you're not going to have that much money. But if you have 0 mouths, you have all that money. And I understand they left their country for a reason, to get away from whatever they want to come up, that's fine. But don't bring your problems here. Why are we your caretakers? Why are we your babysitters? Why are we funding all this crap for you guys, like daycare and early start and having these kids going to our public schools? Are you kidding me? There's so many illegal kids in our public system, in our public schools, that the schools can't even catch up to try to teach these kids how to even speak English or write. Like, it's very difficult, and these teachers are overworked, and they're trying to do their best, but they're infiltrated with a whole bunch of illegals. This is it's such a nightmare that I feel like what is the purpose, right? And it's to infiltrate and conquer. Like, every good war has been fought. There's been an infiltration. You infiltrate and you take over. This one was just, the floodgates was open for 4 years, and I'm telling you, agents, secret agents, killers, like very bad people came through the border, and they're here in the United States. And I see a lot of like not good things happening. Next 40 years is going to be hell. You'll see. A lot of people are going to die. A lot. And I just feel bad, because it's like, I'm like the little warning. I'm giving like the warning flag, you know, and nobody's listening. So it's okay. But they're here, and they're going to cause really bad problem for society. So don't go to the World Cup. Don't go to the Olympics. Stay away from those venues. Stay away from large crowds. You can't trust these people. You can't trust, because you don't know who's who. They blend in. That's the most difficult part. They're only highlighting big cities like LA and Portland and Chicago. You know, just different areas they're just highlighting, but they're all over the place. It's like, how are you going to get all these people out? Like, they infiltrated and they planted their flag here, you know, and they and then we have to take care of them. Are you kidding me? Get the fuck out of here. Here's your fucking plane ticket. And you know what? We're not giving you $1,000. You know what we're giving you? We're giving you a bill a bill of $10,000. Now sit your ass there, and when you get back to your country, you got to pay us back. You know, like they stole so much from the American people, and people are just not caring. There's no uprising. You don't see people in Washington bitching and complaining, "Oh my God, the illegals stole our money, our tax money that is for us, and you guys just gave it away to them." Do you see anybody out there protesting that? Nope. Nobody. People are too distracted, too busy minded, and that's okay. You know, people like me have too much time in their hands and think things through. And I go through a lot of fucking media, especially on YouTube. And I listen, I feel the energy, and I feel different stories, and I bring onto the show stories that I haven't even seen, and then we watch it together, and you come up with your own conclusion. That's the point of this motherfucking show. But I'm not ending the show without finishing this medicine. So this is like the venting part of the show. Release that energy, release that negative, like that infiltration of negative energy that they're trying to project to us every single day. Don't let that energy come onto you and soak into you. We don't need that in your life. Don't get fooled by the media. Don't get fooled by the Epstein bullshit that's been going on forever and ever. Okay? This is something that it's a dossier. This is what they project. This is what they're pushing. Has been pre-planned for the longest. This is an Obama operation. Same thing with the Russia hoax and the collusion and all this bullshit. It's all true. And Trump's telling you guys, but you guys don't listen. And I feel it. I feel the energy. I did my homework. I know. The ones that need to be in the hot seat are sitting comfortably in their homes. Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, the Obamas, Bush Jr. They're all sitting comfortably at home without a worry. They're the most corrupted. And finally, we got a president that actually is showing you guys how corrupt these motherfuckers are, and nobody really cares. Nobody listens to him. All they want to do is bash him. The guy's like doing his job. He's the hardest worker in America. None of us could outwork Trump. Trump is running laps all over us. Literally every day, that motherfucker is running laps. And we're just like crawling, doing what we do on a daily basis. But the Democrats don't see that, because the Democrats are nothing but narcissistic people. They're very narcissistic. They're very power hungry. They kind of remind me of vampires. You know, they do. They remind me of vampires and very desperate for power. Like, my God, they're so despicable. But we're going to be ending the show. Let's see. Give it like a few more minutes. And we'll be ending the show. And I want everyone to continue having a great weekend. Finish off your weekend with a nice meal. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get something or eat something here. I have something I got to make. And sit back, relax, maybe watch a movie or two, and just enjoy the evening, you know, without a care. I'm just more paying attention to that 3-eye atlas. I am. I'm very, very intrigued by it. It has my attention. And the reason why it has my attention is because of the speed that is traveling. And the fact the Earth goes a certain speed around the sun at a certain time. And this object is just like hauling ass. It's just very, it just brings very big curiosity. Like, I'm so curious and what it's, if this is the first like 3 objects that came through here, what else is coming our way? Was there a big explosion out there and things are like coming our way? Things just don't come our way just randomly. Especially something that's not even from here. And NASA using the excuse, oh, the government was shut down, so we weren't able to do our work. Screams cover up. Screams big time cover up. They don't want humanity knowing what is going on out there. It's very secretive. Why? Why is the universe so secretive? Why keep telling the people, oh, we're the only ones. There's nothing out there. Nothing to see out there. You know, just we're just the only ones in the whole fucking universe, or whatever they call it, because that's what we call it. They probably call it something else out there. Out of everything that's out there, we're the only ones. Yeah, I'll place my bets on there's a lot out there, more than what we can even fathom in our minds, more than meets the eye. It's gonna be special times. We're gonna witness a lot of things. I feel like there's gonna be an accident or something happening where a bridge collapse and a whole bunch of cars fall into the water. I've been seeing that vision too. It was just so weird. But we'll see what happens with Venezuela. Any moment, something will flare up, and hopefully, things doesn't get out of control or out of hand. Their military wants to get ready and think that they're ready for the U.S. and are able to fight the U.S. one-on-one. I think this would be like, it sounds weird, but like, how Russia is going after Ukraine and they're like shooting their weapons, and they could have taken over Ukraine a long time ago, right? But they're letting them do what they do, and Russia's like, just looking and so forth, and taking their time with all this. And I feel like the U.S. is like, all right, let me show you how it's done. Venezuela, you got a certain amount of time. If he doesn't come out, then we're just gonna bomb the motherfucker, and we're gonna have you guys submit and throw him out. And and they got a lot of equipment out there, a lot of boats. So, I mean, and this is a big move. Like, if you're playing checkers or you're in chess, like, because chess is this is a very strategic move. And reactivating Puerto Rico too with their base, and now it's an active military more into Puerto Rico. In a ways, is kind of good because, of course, you're shielded and you're protected by the military. So that's the great part about Puerto Rico being a part of the United States, is the security. And I think the Puerto Ricans forgot about that. Because they got too comfortable. And now things are getting a little rough out there. And of course, Venezuela is going to aim for Puerto Rico. That's the closest to the Americas, is Puerto Rico. So this bomb the shit out of Puerto Rico, try to bomb Puerto Rico, and that's going to be fucked. They're going to be really fucked. I don't suggest Venezuela doing that, because That would be very, very, very bad for them. Listen, all Trump wants is to stop the drug flow into the United States. He cannot do it alone. He needs the help of the Venezuelan people or the government also. He wants to put an end to all the drugs coming into America. And it's not only Venezuela, because Colombia is a big problem. You know, the white snow, that's a big problem in Colombia. You know, watch some Scarface. Just watch Scarface. Such a great movie. But it has a lot of ties between them and Cuba, because a lot of drugs gets funneled into Cuba. And they're putting a stop, you know? So them doing that, it's like, oh shit, you know, you're cutting resources and funds, and there's gonna be unhappy people. And yeah, it's just, listen, this world is just one big chess match, and it's just making moves every day, and we don't even get to play the game. We just are spectators. That's all we are. We're spectators and enjoy the show. That's all. So with that said, have a good morning, good afternoon, and a good night. And I'll catch you on the flip side. And I'll definitely be back on tomorrow to talk about what happened, I guess, tomorrow, right? Because every day is a new day. So I'll be talking about tomorrow's news tomorrow. All right, guys. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.